bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Alright, I'm asking my viewers to once again continue to pray for my art career by disliking this video. I'm serious about it. I'm thinking if getting a lot of dislikes could become a meme. If I get 10,000 dislikes, perhaps it will set a meme and in some way I can monetize those dislikes in some way. Obviously, the best thing you could do is to go to my LEGO Ideas page and like the idea there. Like the idea, but pretend you're hitting the dislike button, because dislikes bring me a lot of joy for some reason. Too bad LEGO Ideas doesn't have a dislike button on it, right? Oh, alright. Actually, a lot of social media platforms don't have dislikes. YouTube is one of the few ones. I made the mistake. One time I was leaving a comment on Facebook and I asked people to dislike. I didn't realize Facebook didn't have a dislike. And neither did a number of other platforms that I was trying to do this on. Alright, I got so used to the idea of dislikes. But this is obviously the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower to scale, believe it or not. Each one of these blocks actually represents 2 stories to scale. It is roughly a 350 to 1 scale, a little bit bigger than I normally like to do. Normally I do 500 to 1, but just the way the pieces worked out, it turned out to be about 350. I'm a little bit disappointed at that because I had hoped that one day I'd like to join all of my creations together. Right? I know it's a little bit of a pipe dream because there's a lot of buildings in between the Sears Tower and the Twin Tower complex that I showed you guys last week, and the Taipei 101, obviously, and then you got to do all the oceans and all that. But I like to dream big. My vision has always been some kind of a Wikipedia style page where everybody can contribute, where one person might build the Sears Tower, somebody might build the John Hancock next door, and before you know it, you could start building the entire world in Legos, right? At least virtually, right? Maybe not out of real Legos, but that was kind of my pipe dream at one point. That's why I tried to keep the same scale if possible. But it's 350 to 1, and it turned out each brick was about 2 stories. The Sears Tower, each section is 75 feet by 75 feet. And there we have it. Even the antennas, the height is the right ratio. I tried to match the width and the structure of the antenna. And the nice thing about it is that I'm still only on 2,600 some pieces. LEGO Ideas caps you out at 5,000 pieces. I still want to do the courtyard and the entrances, so I still got a lot of pieces to mess with for that. And this is one of the tallest because of the scale. Builds I've ever made, 55.8 inches, and I'm hoping this will be the one that strikes me out of there into notoriety on LEGO Ideas. Part of the reason I want to hit it with my art career, whether it be LEGO Ideas or the metal casting, and I'm so pleased to see the tariffs finally winding down, or at least the export limitations, maybe not the tariffs. I'm going to have to figure out how much the tariffs are, but at least I can buy more bismuth now. But part of the reason I want to hit it is that I want the art career to be my main thrust, and for the other, for my day job to be a secondary income. And the reason for that is I don't handle the vibe of connecting with coworkers as well as I could, because it's a weird quandary. Let me give you an example why. You guys remember last month, or 3 months ago, when I went to buy a car, right? I was driving a Kia Forte. It was falling apart. I replaced it with Honda Civic. Now, when I sat down across the table from the car dealer, it was purely a business decision. I wasn't thinking about how to maintain good vibes with him. Because let's face it, the next time I need to buy another car, it could be 5, 10 years later. He might not be working at that car dealership. I might not even be living in Phoenix or even in the country anymore, right? And so I'm not really thinking about striking a good vibe with him because I may never be across the table from him again, right? And so it was purely a business transaction, right? And that's good. On the other side of the extreme, when I went to see, when I went to visit a friend in Taiwan, or where else, even friends here in the Phoenix area, I go to a board game meetup every other Monday night, or trying to think. Those are pure friendships, right? I would never be thinking about how to extract from them in any meaningful way, right? And so, but workplaces can kind of mix those two in a very toxic manner and make it difficult. So, for example, 5 years ago, I was working at Washington Tech, and my colleague kind of pressured me into helping out. I had one colleague who had family matters to deal with. I had another colleague who was working on home repairs, and if can you imagine if my car dealer told me that he couldn't budge because he just had a home repair emergency? I'd walk out of there and walk to the next car dealer, right? Or when I'm buying the bismuth from China, that's another purely business decision. Can you imagine if the guy in China called me and spoke in Chinese and said that, oh my God, his wife just got pregnant? Like, I'd hang up the phone and call another bismuth dealer, right? Or maybe I'll just work on a different art project if I can't find another business. Those are purely business decisions, right? But the workplace combines that with the kind of relationship that I have with the girl in Taiwan, or the friends at the meetup group here in the United States, and it just combines them. It's kind of like trying to mix ammonia and bleach, right? Either one of them, ammonia is fine, bleach is fine. They both clean very well, but mixing them is a whole different story, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.